Welcome to the deep dive. Ever feel like you're kind of searching for something like a sense of purpose or deeper meaning, but you're not quite sure where to look? Well, today we're diving into The Secret of the Golden Flower, an ancient Daoist text that suggests the answers we're looking for, they might already be inside us.
It is a fascinating idea, isn't it? That the key to unlocking our full potential, finding that true fulfillment, lies not in outward achievements, but really in cultivating this inner landscape of ourselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued already, but let's be honest. The Secret of the Golden Flower sounds a bit mystical. What are we actually getting into?
Yeah, you're right. The language can be a bit poetic and symbolic, but at its core, this text is about practical self-cultivation. We're going to be exploring Chapter 1, the Heart of Heaven, which lays out the foundation for this inner transformation.
Heart of Heaven. That sounds pretty deep. What does it actually mean, though?
You can think of it as a metaphor for this hidden realm within each of us, a place of incredible beauty and power. And it's not about looking up to the sky, but rather turning our attention inward to explore the vast landscape of our own consciousness.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to, the idea of finding answers within. But how does this text approach the concept of the Tao, which I know is really central to Daoist thought?
It starts by acknowledging that the Tao, or the way, is ultimately beyond any definition, like trying to grasp water. It's constantly flowing and changing.
So how do you even begin to understand something that's so elusive?
Well, the text breaks it down by suggesting the Tao is composed of two key elements, nature and primordial spirit.
Okay, break that down for me. What do those terms actually mean in this context?
You can think of your nature as your essential self, your true potential waiting to be uncovered. And the primordial spirit is that spark of life within you, the animating force that drives you.
I like that. So it's like the Tao is both who you are at your core and the energy that makes you, you, but then text throws in this heavenly light. Is this where things get a little too woo-woo for me?
Not necessarily. Remember, this is about internal alchemy, a process of transforming yourself from within. So the heavenly light refers to a subtle energy that can only be perceived through introspection. It's all about cultivating this deep awareness of your inner world.
Okay. So we're talking about a different kind of light, not something shining down from the heavens, but something coming from within.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the light of your own awareness, the radiance of your own primordial spirit, and this is where the metaphor of the golden flower comes into play.
Now, the golden flower, that is what really piqued my curiosity. What's the deal with this mysterious flower? Does it have magical powers?
It's a really powerful symbol, and it represents the radiant energy of the Tao within you. It's the essence of your true self, like the culmination of this alchemical process, the refining of your lead into gold.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together, but how do you actually cultivate this golden flower? What is the secret?
The text talks about a practice called returning the light. It's not about staring at a physical flower, but rather focusing your attention inward toward that square-inch field between your eyebrows, the heart of heaven, where your true self resides.
So it's like you're saying, look within. The golden flower is already there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Returning the light is about shifting your awareness, bringing your attention back to the source of your being, to that inner space where your true potential resides.
Now that we've got the concept of the heart of heaven down, let's explore how we can actually access this inner space. So how do you actually, how do you return the light? What does that practice actually involve?
Well, the text uses the metaphor of a wise ruler establishing their capital city. It's about gently guiding your attention to this inner space, recognizing it as the center of your being.
I've always struggled with traditional meditation. Is returning the light something that, someone like me could actually do?
Well, the text suggests it takes both intelligence and serenity, but the potential is within everyone. It's not about forcing anything, but rather just cultivating a gentle and focused awareness.
You're making this sound easy, but isn't cultivating the golden flower like a lifelong pursuit? How can we, as, busy modern people, realistically incorporate these practices into our lives? I mean, is it even possible to find true stillness in today's world?
That is a great question, and one we'll explore further, as we dive deeper into the text. But I think it's precisely because our world is so chaotic that these practices are even more important.
So it's like an antidote to the stresses of modern life.
Exactly. Returning the light offers a way to reclaim our inner space and reconnect with a deeper sense of peace and clarity. It's about finding that oasis of calm within ourselves, regardless of what's happening outside.
It really makes you think. It's like we're constantly being pulled outward by all the distractions of modern life. And this practice is about consciously choosing to turn inward.
Precisely. And as we explore the secret of the Goldie flower further, we'll see how this inward focus can lead to profound transformation, both within ourselves and in our interactions with the world.
I'm definitely ready to unpack more. This deep dive is already blowing my mind.
I'm glad to hear it. There's a lot more to explore, so stay tuned for the next part of our journey into the secret of the golden flower.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the secret of the golden flower. We've been exploring this idea of, finding answers and meaning within ourselves through that Daoist practice of cultivating our inner landscape.
Yeah, and we've touched on those key elements of this inner transformation, recognizing our nature and primordial spirit, understanding the heavenly light, and really aiming to cultivate the golden flower, which represents that radiant energy of the Tao within us.
But how do we actually go about this cultivation? This text talks about returning the light as a way to access that heart of heaven. But it all feels, a bit abstract to me. Is there like a step-by-step guide that we can follow?
Well, while the secret of the golden flower isn't like a manual with numbered instructions, it does offer some pretty powerful metaphors and insights that can really guide us on this journey of self-discovery.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Remember that metaphor of the wise ruler establishing their capital? It starts with recognizing the heart of heaven as that center of your being, that square inch field right between your eyebrows, and gently, directing your attention towards it.
Right, that ancestral land, the yellow court, the mysterious, all those like really evocative names. But how do you actually shift your focus inward like that? It's not like flipping a switch.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. It's more about cultivating a gentle awareness. It's not about forcing, but about recognizing and redirecting. Just think about a time when you felt like truly present, maybe absorbed in an activity that you love, or even just enjoying a beautiful sunset. That sense of focus and that inner stillness, that's the kind of awareness that we're aiming to cultivate.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's like choosing where your attention goes rather than letting it, get pulled in a million different directions, which happens to me all the time.
Yeah, that's the challenge that we all face, especially in today's world, right? But the text reminds us that this light is easily disturbed and difficult to stabilize. So it really takes practice and dedication to cultivate that inner stillness.
So it's an ongoing process, not like a one-time achievement. Is it kind of like meditation where you have to train your mind to focus? Because honestly, I've tried meditation and my mind just won't quiet down.
Yeah, it's similar to meditation in that it does involve training your attention. But returning the light is even more specific in that it's about cultivating a type of awareness that allows you to really tap into your own inner source of wisdom and power.
And you're saying this inner source is connected to the Tao, that universal principle that governs all of reality.
Exactly. The secret of the golden flower isn't just about personal growth. It's about aligning ourselves with this greater force.
Wow, that's a big idea. But if it's so powerful, why doesn't everyone just do this? What makes it so difficult to stabilize?
Well, the text mentions two key qualities that are necessary for success: intelligence and serenity.
Okay, I get the serenity part, to focus inward like that. You'd have to cultivate a sense of inner peace. But why intelligence? Isn't it more about quieting the mind?
Yeah, it's not just about emptying your mind. It's about understanding, what you're experiencing. It takes a certain level of insight to really grasp these concepts and to recognize those subtle shifts in your own awareness.
So it's a balance of wisdom and stillness, of understanding the concepts and then actually applying them in your own experience.
Precisely. It's about integrating those two elements, cultivating both the understanding and the practice.
That makes sense. But let's talk about the serenity part. How do you even begin to cultivate serenity in a world that feels anything but serene?
Well, it's an ongoing practice, not a destination, right? It's about cultivating mindfulness, learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, letting go of attachments and practicing acceptance.
Okay, so it's not about becoming some emotionless robot, but rather learning to navigate those ups and downs of life with, more grace and more equanimity. That sounds like a lifelong journey.
It is, but even small steps in the right direction can have a pretty profound impact. Each moment of mindfulness, each conscious breath, each time you choose to turn inward instead of getting swept away by those external distractions, those are all victories on the path to cultivating serenity.
So it's about progress, not perfection. That's actually reassuring. But I'm still curious about the end goal here. What happens when you successfully cultivate the golden flower? Do you get superpowers?
That's a great question. And one that the secret of the golden flower answers in a rather unexpected way.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Don't leave me hanging.
The text suggests that, cultivating the golden flower isn't just about personal enlightenment. It's about something much, much bigger. It's about tapping into this universal source of wisdom and power that can transform not only ourselves, but also the world around us.
Wait, so it's not just about self-improvement. It's about, actually impacting the world.
Exactly. Remember, the golden flower represents the essence of the Tao, that fundamental principle that governs all of reality. So by aligning ourselves with the Tao, by cultivating that golden flower within, we tap into a power that goes way beyond our individual selves.
That's a pretty powerful idea.
Yeah.
But the text doesn't really give us a blueprint for how that actually happens, does it? It's more focused on the internal transformation.
You're right. The secret of the golden flower is primarily concerned with the inner work. But it does suggest that, as we cultivate qualities like wisdom, serenity, and compassion within ourselves, those qualities naturally begin to manifest in our interactions with the world.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. You start with your own inner transformation, and that ripples outward.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected, that our thoughts, actions, and intentions actually have an impact on the world around us. So by cultivating inner harmony, we're contributing to a more harmonious world.
I love that idea. It gives this whole practice a much bigger sense of purpose.
It does, yeah. And it challenges us to really think about how we can use our own inner cultivation to make, a positive difference.
This is really making me think. It's like we've been exploring this hidden dimension, a whole new way of looking at the world and our place in it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And before we continue our exploration into the secret of the golden flower, I'd love to hear from you, the listener.
Ooh, the cliffhanger. I love it.
What's resonating with you most from what we've talked about so far? What sparks your curiosity? What insights have you, gleaned from this ancient wisdom? Take a moment to reflect on that. We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into the secret of the golden flower.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the secret of the golden flower. We've been on quite the journey, exploring this idea of cultivating our inner landscape to really unlock our true potential and find a deeper meaning in our lives.
Yeah, we've delved into some pretty profound concepts like the Tao, the heart of heaven, and the practice of returning the light. And we've started to see how these, ancient Daoist teachings can be surprisingly relevant to the challenges we face in our modern world.
Yeah, but I have to admit, as fascinating as all of this is, I'm still kind of wrestling with how to actually apply these ideas in a practical way.
Yeah.
Life in the 21st century, it's so fast-paced and demanding and constantly connected. How can we realistically cultivate inner stillness and serenity amidst all the chaos?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think that's precisely why the secret of the golden flower is so relevant today. It offers us a path not to escaping the world, but to navigating it with greater awareness, purpose, and inner peace.
So it's not about becoming a hermit and meditating in a cave somewhere.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that the true source of peace and fulfillment lies not in those external circumstances, but within ourselves. The golden flower isn't like a magical object that we find out in the world. It's something we cultivate within.
You keep saying cultivate, and I think that's the part that I'm getting stuck on. It sounds like such a long and maybe even arduous process. Is there a shortcut?
Well, there's no magic bullet, but the good news is that even small steps in the right direction can make a really big difference. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't expect a beautiful flower to just bloom overnight. It takes time and patience and consistent effort.
Okay, that analogy makes sense. So what are some seeds that we can plant in our own inner gardens to start cultivating the golden flower?
Well, the text really emphasizes the importance of stillness and introspection. So start by carving out, small pockets of time in your day for quiet reflection. It doesn't have to be hours of meditation. Even a few minutes of focused breathing or simply just observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment can make a big difference.
I actually tried something like that just the other day when I was feeling completely overwhelmed with work. I just closed my eyes for a few minutes and focused on my breath. And you know what? it actually helped.
That's a perfect example. It's not about achieving some perfect state of Zen-like bliss. It's about those small moments of awareness, those pauses in the chaos where you can kind of reconnect with yourself.
So it's like building a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access that inner stillness, even when things are like crazy around you.
Exactly. And as you practice returning the light, shifting your attention inward, you might be surprised by what you discover. The text suggests that we all have this wellspring of wisdom and power within us, but we often get so caught up in the external world that we lose touch with it.
That actually reminds me of something you said earlier about how cultivating the golden flower isn't just about, personal enlightenment. It's about tapping into this universal source of wisdom and power that can actually impact the world around us. How does that work? It still feels a bit mysterious to me.
It's a bit like a ripple effect. Imagine a still pond. When you drop a pebble into the water, it creates a series of expanding circles. Our thoughts, actions, and intentions, they create similar ripples in the world around us.
So you're saying that by cultivating inner harmony, by tapping into that universal source of wisdom, our actions kind of become more aligned with the Tao, and that creates a more positive ripple effect in the world.
That's the idea. It's not about trying to control the world or force our will upon it. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and understanding that our inner state has a profound impact on that outer world.
That's such a powerful concept. It really makes me think about the responsibility that we each have to cultivate our inner landscape, not just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of, the whole.
And the beauty of it is that it's not like an either proposition.
Right.
As we cultivate our own inner peace and wisdom, we naturally become more compassionate, more understanding, and more able to contribute to the well-being of others.
So it's a win-win. We benefit and the world benefits.
Yeah.
I have one final question that's been kind of nagging at me. The text talks about the golden flower being difficult to stabilize. What does that actually mean? Does it mean that even if we achieve a certain level of inner harmony, we can lose it?
That's a great question. And it really gets to the heart of what the secret of the golden flower is all about. The journey of self-cultivation. It's not a linear path with a clear endpoint. It's a lifelong practice of continual refinement and deepening awareness.
So it's not about achieving some perfect state of enlightenment and then you're done. It's an ongoing process.
Exactly. There will be moments of clarity and insight, and there will be times when we feel lost or off track. The key is to remember that the journey itself is the destination. Every step we take, every breath we take, every moment of conscious awareness is an opportunity to cultivate that golden flower within.
That's actually very reassuring. It takes the pressure off of having to achieve something and just allows us to simply focus on the practice itself.
And that's where the true magic lies. It's in that journey of self-discovery, in those moments of stillness, in the insights that arise when we turn our attention inward.
Wow. We've covered so much ground today, from that elusive day to the mystical golden flower from the heart of heaven to the practice of returning the light. This deep dive has been truly mind-expanding.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating exploration, and I hope it sparked a sense of curiosity and possibility for you, the listener.
I think it definitely has. And if you're feeling inspired to embark on your own journey of self-cultivation, remember that it all starts with a single step. Cultivate those moments of stillness. Pay attention to your breath. Explore that vast landscape of your inner world. You might be surprised by what you discover.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the secret of the golden flower. We'll be back next time with another fascinating exploration. Until then, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep discovering the hidden depths within yourself.